Good morning guys, Unfrequented World Photography, and today I'm going to do a review on a vintage lens that has to be done. I've owned this lens for about 4 years. I've never done a review of it. I've mentioned it in a couple of videos, but this lens is so good guys. You have to see this thing, you have to try this thing, and it's dirt cheap. We're talking today about the Tamron Adaptall 2 35 to 80 zoom, but it has a macro feature, so it becomes very versatile. An excellent old lens. And I'm going to show you guys that and some image samples. And I'm going to show you, I was just checking out eBay, there's one listed on there right now, for example, with an E-mount adapter for $18 shipping. Nobody's bid on it. And I'm just showing you guys, that's how cheap these lenses are. And this thing is phenomenal. This thing is Zeiss sharp. I'm not even joking, Zeiss sharp. Today's March 12th. There's a listing. I don't know this guy. I'm just showing that this is up there. So we've got no bids, 18 bucks Canadian. So you Americans, wow, that's like 40 cents. Anyway, they're dirt cheap. And this guy has the adapter with it. And I'll show you guys there's other ways you can mount these on your E-mount cameras. So you could buy yourself an E-mount adapter, which basically would go from the Tamron Adaptall directly to the camera. The way I'm doing it's a little bit different. I've got an A-mount adapter on here, so I'm going from Tamron Adaptall to A-mount, and then I've got my LA-EA3 adapter on there. So it's about the same size as just buying the regular E-mount, Tamron to E-mount adapter. So I'll just show you guys the lens here. It's obviously it's a manual focus lens, so you've got your focus ring out here, and your zoom ring is on the inside, and it's kind of backwards, this lens. When it's zoomed in tight to its smallest size, it's actually at 80 millimeters. So you can walk around with this lens, and it is a tiny little lens. Like we're talking, 2-inch diameter here or something. It's very small. 2.5 inches, I don't know. It's very small, very light. So when it's zoomed all the way into its smallest form factor, there's zoomed out, there's zoomed in. So when it's zoomed in, it's at 80 millimeters. Which most lenses would be the reverse. It would be 35 millimeters. This one, you've got to zoom it out here, and then you'd be at 35 millimeters. Here, 0.9 feet or 0.27 meters. So for me, guys, this makes a very good travel lens. It's not the newest coatings and things on there, but the size and form factor that they made, these lenses that were made in the 70s, they just had it right, guys. You didn't need to have a 3-pound lens to get a 35-80 zoom. The thing fits in the palm of your hand and probably weighs 400 and some grams. There's nothing to it. And the sharpness, you're getting prime sharpness in a zoom form factor. Now, it's not a perfect lens because it's made in the 70s. Some of the coatings, the newer lenses are much better, but this is not bad. In terms of compared to other lenses from that era, this lens is probably the best I own in terms of veiling. So wide open, we lose a little bit of contrast, but completely fixable in post. There isn't a lens I don't think you can buy from the 70s that you don't lose the contrast when they're wide open. This one, minimal. The CA, minimal, so very workable. And the bonus features, like I said before, not only are you getting that zoom, but you're getting the macro capabilities as well. So you can get some real nice low light work with the f2.8 and macro stuff. So it's a great lens to throw in the bag when you don't have a lot of room. You've got to be a manual focus guy to appreciate this lens though. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll take some macro shots of this remote, and I'll show you guys the working distances you're going to get with this lens at 35 and 80 millimeters. Okay, so right there, guys, we are in focus at 80 millimeters. And there's 35 millimeters in focus. Okay, here we are in Corel Paint Shop Pro 2018, and all of these images are straight off the camera, guys. We're shooting with the A7R III, and so I just wanted to show you this image here I took to show a white background, the snow, the outside light coming in through the window to show what kind of ghosting and reflection you'd get on this lens. And as you can see, it's very well controlled for an old lens. And I'm about 5 feet away from these remotes when I zoom in here, and we can check the sharpness. and it's not too bad at all actually. I think we were about ISO 2000 there. So you can see a very, very tiny amount of CA right here. Anywhere that you've got high contrast, you're going to get a little bit, but you'd never notice that on full image size. And this one here I wanted to show you guys. This is the image that you would get with a white background and a dark subject in the front to show you the CA. These are wide open, by the way, both these last shots, f2.8. So not bad sharpness at all at 2.8 for an old lens. But the CA is a little bit worse when you've got a high contrast subject in the front. But again, one click fix in Corel, and this is what you end up with. So literally it's a 20-second fix, guys, to remove the CA from these old lenses. I'm not going to go through how to do that. I've got tutorials and I've shown in a couple videos how to do that. There's just under the adjust tab, you can remove chromatic aberration. It's very simple to figure out, or watch the tutorial on my site. Okay guys, I also took 3 shots of the front yard. We've got an f2.8 landscape, which we just wouldn't do with a vintage old lens, poor old thing. But just to show you the difference, f2.8, f8, and f16. Let's take a closer look at the 2.8 to start with. And I just wanted to show you guys that there is a little bit of veiling in here when we're zoomed in. But in terms of sharpness, look at the bricks here. It's still resolving texture and lines between those bricks out there, and that's about 100 yards away. So not bad at all for f2.8. This here is bokeh. It's out of focus. We were focused to infinity back here on the tree line. And what I've done, just to show you guys, you would never shoot this, like I say, wide open. But if you did, I'll show you guys. I also took the liberty of fixing the image by just sharpening, adding contrast, and removing the CA. There's a little bit of CA on these trees and things right here. So I'll show you guys that right now. Here's the image straight out of the camera. Here's the image if you were to fix it up. And this is even, wide open 2.8. That looks pretty darn good. So what I wanted to show you was the difference. Straight out of camera, you might go, there's fixed up. And if we zoom in, most of that veiling is gone just by adding a bit of contrast. The CA is gone, and we've added a bit of sharpness. So we'll show you straight out of the camera zoomed in as well. That's what we were dealing with straight out of the camera. And the way I fix images, this is what you would end up with. You might do something different. So this is just to show you guys they are workable in post, as any old lens is. But let's move to the f8 and take a look. And we can see in here, by f8, this lens is really doing a fantastic job. There's no veiling, the sharpness is nice, and actually there's no CA to speak of either when we're down to f8. So an excellent job. I would shoot landscapes starting at that range and then up into here, up into f16. And we actually see that by f16 we've lost a little bit of detail versus the f8. If we were to compare those two roughly, there's f8, there's f16. These are both straight out of the camera as well, no adjustments made. See that f8 is actually, looks like the sweet spot for this lens. So these images here, guys, I just wanted to show you again the detail that we can achieve and the color. So just to check for any color smearing and things like that. It looks pretty good to me. This is a very bright coat, so we're getting some reflections on the back coat here, and we look at the detail. That's resolving a very fine amount of detail. There's 100% right there. And there's 250%. So this is a very sharp old lens. Okay, and the next image, just to show you guys again the nice color rendition that we get. The bokeh in the background here, it fades out very nice and smooth, an excellent lens for that as well. I also didn't mention, guys, I'm just going to throw this in here verbally, video. This lens, if you're a video shooter, is fantastic for manual lens videography, okay? So excellent video lens. And a low light shot is our final shot, just to show you guys. Again, we've already gone over the resolution this thing can gather, but this is shot at f5.6. And I mean, fantastic little old lens. There you have it, guys. That is why I think that the Tamron Adaptall 2 3580 CF lens is one of my all-time favorite vintage standard zooms. It just ticks all the boxes: size, weight, sharpness, price, especially the price, guys. There's no excuse. For 25 to 40 bucks, you can get out there, get one of these, and try it. You absolutely will not be disappointed, and I just think it's one of the best vintage lenses out there. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and next week, join me. I'm going to cover the counterpart to this Tamron Adaptall 2 lens, and it is the 70 to 210 19AH, a very highly touted lens itself, and we'll cover that one next week.